What's up, everybody? We're diving into these charts. We're diving into what's going on with the price action, what levels we got to look at. And so I want everybody to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding the bell. We're getting right on into it here in just a moment. You know what? I don't got time to wait for this countdown. We're jumping right in, so let's get to it. What's up, everybody? How you doing? Good morning, good afternoon, good night. How you doing? How you feeling? We got to talk about what's going on with this price action. We got to talk about what's going on with the levels. Are we about to drop further? Are we going to find some support here and push to the upside? Is the bull market over? Well, let's go ahead and dive right on into it. Everybody throw a one in chat if the audio, visual, everything is working well. I'm at my home studio today. I want to make sure everything looks good, sounds good, feels good, and we're jumping right into it because we got some big things we got to talk about today. The most important consideration right now is this. Wise man say Bitcoin always look dumpiest before the pumpiest. So everybody, let's talk about that because some people are just losing their mind right now because the price is pulling down a little bit. In reality, everything's actually looking quite well. We're going to be looking at some charts. We're going to be breaking down some TA on Bitcoin, on Ethereum, and on some of your top and favorite altcoins. So everybody, I want you to get involved. Let me know right now in the chat. Are you bearish on where we're going throughout the rest of this week? Are you bullish? What are you feeling right now? Are you buying these dips? Are you selling in fear, just donating your money to wealthier people and helping them fund their next boat or vacation home purchase? Let's dive into all this right now. We got market cap is 2.38 trillion. Remember, just a couple days ago, it was over 2.6 trillion. But we also can see that Bitcoin is still hovering right here about that 65,000, Ethereum around 3,500, BNB back under $600. But I think what we want to talk about, let's be honest, what we want to talk about right now is what's going on with Bitcoin sitting here at this level. Should we be worried? Let's go ahead and look at this live chat right now. We see Fade and Trifat says, I'm buying. Plutobolic says he's bearish. Falco's got the buy the dip emoji there. Thoughts on AGIX is a good buy right now, says Brutal. We will hop into that. I got some information and update on the ASI and the merger and all that. So we're going to be discussing all that and more. But let's look at this. Wait, we don't sell bottoms? Sack Nasty says, you are right. And Danny Bird says, sell me your Bitcoin. There's a lot of people out there right now. These market movements are essentially engineered to get you to get emotional. So you will basically give your liquidity, give your capital to players that have a longer term mindset. So we have to pay attention to what is going on right here because we have this large sort of midterm descending resistance level that we have tapped into 74. And then again here at 72.9, about 73, and then a little bit lower, 71.8, and then a little bit lower, 71.5. And this is now just breaking down. We have the rising wedge. We talked about it. And I just want to point out real quick, everybody, if you don't remember, if you're not following me, excuse me, make sure you are following me on Twitter and getting into BitLab Academy in the Discord, but then also making sure that you're, following me here on Twitter. Cause look at this from June 7th, when price was up here, I had this outlined, there's a case to wash out down to the 66 to 65K level. This is when we were up here above $69,000, still in that region. And the price, what did it do? We lost this rising wedge and we moved to the downside. And now we are actually sitting right in this level. This had a lot to do with also seeing the liquidity down in this zone. This is, again, June 7th. Now we are 10 days beyond that, and we're looking at the price action going, how did it get there? The data showed us it was a possibility. We're also sitting here consolidating at this previous all-time high level. Let's draw a box on it. There we go. Look at this. Previous all-time high level. Look at the price action coming right into this zone. Nothing is out of context right now. We've talked about this before, but sometimes we need a reminder. Let's go ahead and draw a box around this previous all-time high zone. Let's go ahead and see what right there when we were in that $19,000 range. And look at this. Before the bulls truly were able to absolutely get let loose and rocket to the upside, this chopped out so many people. This must be as high as it's going to go. How the hell can you, when there's still lack of confidence, how can you push up into this zone and consider this is going to be a top? When we've seen time and time again on the price action, I guess we're not going to see it on that chart, but let's go ahead and let's look at the BLX. Do I have that? So here we go. Boom, right here. And then again, right here. Let's draw a box. I got to click things 7 times for it to work. And look at this. Chopping, previous all-time high, then the market is released. Why? Because Bitcoin always looks the dumpiest before it is the pumpiest. Shout out to also Tyler S out there. If you guys ever watch his channel, he this kind of reminded me of the way he talks and does his analysis, but it's true. I mean, everybody's getting so worried right now when we're only doing what we've seen in previous cycles time and time again. And of course, also we're wondering about the altcoins. Well, let's take a look at the Bitcoin dominance pushing up into the zone, still sort of chopping, hovering in the zone, multi-year descending resistance level that we are at right in here. And it is just chopping at that zone. If we come back up into, let's actually, so seeing that we are basically consolidating in this level, deviation above, deviation below, and now everybody's losing their mind right now because the price isn't just absolutely rocketing to the upside. What are we doing? Stair step up, consolidating into this. The stair step up we see is form this rising wedge, which is pronounced by having a large impulse move down, a larger impulse. But now we have the smaller impulse, basically double top, 1, 2, 3, triple top. And then look, finding some support, coming up, flipping that support to resistance, breakdown, trap here to the downside. So what should we be doing right here? Well, let's go ahead and go through some of the context because we can't just look at price. We got to look at some of the things that's feeding the price. We got to make sure that what we are doing is actually going to be productive based on what's going on in this market. So 65.5, should we be losing our minds right now? Absolutely not. We say it's the dumpiest before the pumpiest, and we all can also see here on the FOMO indicator that we are sitting here at 31 fear. Now, this looks very different, and this is why I really recommend you check this out, put out by the Hit Network and Discover Crypto crew. Josh, great idea here. Separating all that institutional data and looking at retail. That's what the difference is. That's why this says 55 and this says specifically on Bitcoin, not just the crypto market. We're getting down into these buy zones. When everybody's fearful, when there's blood in the streets, that's when we're looking for these buy opportunities. So let's go ahead and go through some of this and talk about it. Quentin here says, imagine selling Apple stock in 2011 because you're tired to time. You tried to time the market. The same goes for Bitcoin. This is what happened. Oh my God, it's so high. Let's take profits, only to have that exponential move to the upside. In addition to that, we can also see boring markets never been the best moment to fade, meaning don't fade it because it's not just going up. When it's not just going up, that means it's still providing you opportunity. That's what we're here for, is opportunity, right? Dave Milton says, sale soon, fire sale. We're in the middle of it, and this could be the bottom. It could drop lower. We're going to show you those levels of where it could go down to. And remember, guys, I've been trying, and I hope, throw a 1 in chat if you agree with this. Throw a 2 in chat if you think I'm an absolute liar. And everybody's free of their own perspective. I've been trying to show you as an unbiased look at this market as possible and showing you how I'm arriving at those conclusions. Because this for me isn't just, I don't want to just get on here and talk. I want to get on here and share strategies that I have seen change my life, what I've learned from other people, and also look at, yes, bullish and bearish sentiments, but understanding what is going on in this market. Mark Dutch says too, I love the levity there. But we can see, I remember Bitcoin trading around 25,000 was so boring. Remember, this is going to be important because we are entering the summer time frame, not Bitcoin summer, Bitcoin winter. I'm talking about the seasons in the year. This is marked by having certain sort of characteristics of behavior of different types of players in the market. So if If Bitcoin was trading around 25,000 was boring, when was that? Let's look at this. Let's go back out to the daily, double click here, make sure it's on auto. Okay, so we are right here. Okay, I'm looking at the bottom, June. So let's go back 1 year. Where was June? Oh, right in here, June, April, May, June, July. So what did the price do? It traveled sideways from basically, we had this push up. The establishment of the bull trend happened here. Yes, this broke out, but this is where the bulls were tested, the buying power. We had the higher low. Now from here across, how long was this sideways price action? 220 days. Now, do I think that's going to happen again? I think that is a little bit unlikely to have another 220-day sideways price action because of where we are at. However, we have to look at the shape here, and we're going to talk about this in a moment. But coming back over to what Quentin said here, I remember Bitcoin trading around 25,000 was so boring. In a few years, it's going to be boring to see Bitcoin at 200,000. This is the truth. We have to look forward to have more confidence in what we're doing now. If you're not confident, then you're acting emotionally. If you're acting emotionally, then you're only here to give your capital, to give your bags to somebody that has better vision than you. As Dave Chappelle says, the person with the strongest dream wins. So my question to you is, how strong is your dream? Your dream has to be marked by not only conviction, but strategy and process that you can repeat on a daily basis and not be held hostage by your emotions, not be held hostage by things outside of strategy that is meaningful, that works. That's what this is about. So let's get back into this. Looking at what's going on right here, Michael Saylor, remember, we're talking about conviction. Who has a strong dream? Well, we saw him buck the trend of Wall Street, buck the trend of traditional assets, got basically persecuted, and he's such an idiot, Michael Saylor, from all the other CEOs and what's his name, Jim Cramer, and all these naysayers. Now they went from 500 million to 12 something billion dollars because of Bitcoin on their balance sheet. And he just not only did another offering of 500 million, he upped it by 40% to 700 million to where he's buying more Bitcoin. And so this is the type of person, this is the sentiment we need to follow. We see Bitcoin's dip is an opportunity, not a setback. Let's stop being such a victim of the moment. Let's take advantage of the moment. That's what we're here for. Michael Saylor advises a long-term perspective amidst Bitcoin volatility, encouraging market resilience and seeing opportunity. MicroStrategy's $700 million fundraise highlights his commitment to Bitcoin despite short-term price fluctuations. If you see the different points that Michael Saylor has been buying along the way, some of it's at a little range top, some of it's at the bottom. So, because when he gets the money to buy, when he raises it, he gets it. Institutional interest in Bitcoin stays strong, driven by strategic moves like MicroStrategy's accumulation strategy. So this is what we want to do. We want to have these smart, longer-term vision of what's going on. In addition to all this, markets having a little bit of a pullback. Well, financial advisors, this thing that we've been waiting on because we have the Bitcoin spot ETFs that makes it more accessible. And now we have the proven foundation of an incredible buying, not only from retail, but huge number of institutions in Q1, setting and breaking records of any asset in the history of every asset ever. And so now we're starting to see financial advisors starting to embrace spot Bitcoin ETFs as adoption journey progresses. This is bullish as it can be. So when we see a dip along the way, for instance, if you're looking at a dot on a map, tracking a car, and you have no understanding of the context of how trips work, for instance, and you see that dot stop moving and go off the highway, one could argue they stopped. They're not going anywhere. But if you're aware that if somebody's going on a 3-hour trip or a 6-hour trip or whatever, and somebody's driving for 2.5, 3 hours, and you see it pull off the highway, because of your understanding of context and having taken road trips before, you'll also understand that, maybe they're getting gas. Maybe it's a break along the way until you see that car reverse course. Same thing is true right now when we're looking at this market, and we're actually seeing all the signs of increased adoption coming. Sailor printer go burr, says Fade and Traffi. That's right. Fear and greed dropping. We got 201 people in the room right now. So everybody, if you would hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, join us here. And I just want to really, again, call out everybody. You know what? We got to say it right now. Everybody, a year and a half, we have hit that 50,000 subscriber mark. And it's because we're providing content. We're building community. I'm a member of your community. You're not a member of mine. We are doing this together. We're growing together in BitLab Academy as well as here on the BitLab Academy stream. So I want to challenge every single one of you right now, 201 of you. I look at the metrics, usually about 40 to 50% watch, and they're watching daily. They're not subscribed. So make sure you're heading over to the BitLab Academy YouTube page. And if you look below the video, make sure you are subscribed, ding the bells. And if you are a member, and even not, make sure if you have the bell dinged, you'll get notifications when I'm posting some exclusive alpha stuff. Sometimes I don't post it on the live stream. Sometimes it's an unlisted link, and you only get notified of that if you are checking this community page or if you ding that bell so you can get in the know. I want to make sure I bring the best alpha to all of you, but I also want to make sure the people that are truly tuned in get a little bit of special privilege, because if you are participating in this community, I want to get you as much data as possible. So continuing on with what we're talking about here, we got some really great charts to dive into. SEC's head of crypto asset enforcement division resigns. This is bullish. I like this. Changing of the guard, changing winds. Now, he came out and said all these like flowery things, but I can't imagine that there's not some frustration with a lot of the directives he's probably been given and some of the falters, major falters that they've had over the last 2 years. So we just got to be aware of that. And again, everybody's wondering when the party ends because we're at the top, right? Kush here says it's just beginning. And I believe that as well. We're looking at these lows. Look at this, where you have this sort of this trend line channel, basically the mid bull market, bear market, come back into consolidation, then launch. What do we got? Again, we have sort of the bull market, the bear market, come back into consolidation. Now we're sitting above it instead of below it like last time, but we're sitting basically regionally at the same level. Continuation. What do we see with NASDAQ? Up. What do we see with Dixie? This is something we want to pay attention to. Let's get it back over here. Let's look at the DXY. Where are you at? I just had it up a second ago. DXY. And looking at this, let's get out to the 3-day. We see a range forming right in here. We can come here to parallel channel. Boom, boom, boom. This will be, I'll adjust this in a second. So we got a little bit of a, there we go. Now, why would I put it right there? I didn't include this. I did. You're not paying attention. What do we see? We see rejection. Now this has a little rejection, breaks through, finds support on top of it. And then look at this. Once it falls through, then rejects below it. Same thing. Got another deviation above, but we're kind of sitting in the same zone. If you don't like that pattern, fine. What we're seeing is this sort of move, rising channel to the upside. And we're seeing more and more signs that there's weakness coming into the dollar, because we just also saw that contract, the 50-year contract with Saudi Arabia using the petrodollar just expired, and they're not updating it. That is hundreds of billions of dollars in trading volume and demand for the dollar that is essentially evaporating. So let's go ahead and continue on here. We got a couple other things to talk about here, but we can see this on this chart. What do we see before this move down on the Dixie? We see the price consolidating on Bitcoin, and we get a spike. It's almost like the last trap and then down. What do we see here? Last trap, then down. Now, here we go. Are we going to get a small move up? If so, we've seen this before. It might be the setup for the downside. That may not happen, though. This may have been that trap. And if we start getting that movement down on the Dixie, the DXY, the dollar index, the value of the dollar on the global stage, if that is dropping, then that means people are basically more focused on getting back into risk. So this is what we want to pay attention to. If this does start dropping, this will give us more signal of a likely upside on Bitcoin. And we look at this. Bitcoin at 65,000 in 2024 has been completely de-risked. This $64,000, 65, 67 is a completely different environment Then we saw Bitcoin at $64,000 back here. When we broke up here above 38,000, we got up in here. Now, what do we see when we get up to 64,000? We see weakening conditions going into that. How do you know it's weakening conditions, Kelly? Well, we see one, large impulse, smaller impulse, sideways and smaller impulse, and new low, new lower low, new lower high. So the conditions going into 64 was marking weakness as it hit that level. Now it hit it a second time over here. Now we have this basically double top, but we also come back up into 67. Awesome. We break down and look how much smaller this is. Now, if we're also looking at the bearish divergences, there's all these other signals that we've broken down in streams past, but this is different conditions than what we're seeing here. We're seeing a strong bull trend with expanding momentum coming into the zone, and we're worried. Let's not be worried. Let's look at the data, not the fear of the price action we're just staring at. So we can see this. It's the average price of billions in ETF capital. The average price of billions of new money that came in, a lot of it from institutions, pressing into this zone with expanding. This is akin to this right here. That's what we all need to realize. This move is akin to this move right here. This is what we need to pay attention to. Not being like, oh, it dropped from 74 to 65. No, look at the shape of what we've seen in the past. And in addition, what we just talked about, we also have the presidential candidates are now fighting to show they're the most pro-Bitcoin politician. The amount of coverage crypto and Bitcoin primarily, but crypto as being adjacent to that, is getting on the world stage on a daily basis in media is unprecedented, and we're worried. And then we talk about, I don't want to go through this because I'm sure you guys have watched this, but Larry Fink is talking about national debt and the need for, if we want to take this into the future, I'm talking about our livelihood, our ability to manage what's going on in the future. We have to invest in the infrastructure in the future of the future. And that infrastructure of the future is digital, is blockchain. It's the railroad. It's like investing in the railroad back in the 1800s. And look at how important the railroad was to the Industrial Revolution, right? This is the same thing with blockchain moving into the future. And then we can look, I had another chart. Where did it go? I don't know where the other, here you go. Then we can see this, day 45 of the cycle for Bitcoin, clearly in the declining phase of the daily cycle. So we can see this moving down, this sort of essentially the consolidation we're having at this level. And we can see lower 60K range is a good spot to be adding if we do go down further than this. But more important to this is what I want to look at. Remember we were talking about that $25,000 level. Well, last summer we had, if we take a fractal of that time period in the price action, and we basically overlay it with the price coming up, coming down almost perfectly here, coming up. Do we have another bounce down into the 59, 55, that 200-day moving average level, about $55,000? If this were to take place, but serves as a reminder of what's possible and the patience that might be needed. Remember this. Just because we've had shorter consolidations in the past at previous all-time high doesn't mean we're going to have that same length. It may be longer. We could just break out in July, but we have to be aware of this possibility because sometimes the market can remain irrational longer than most of all of us can stay solvent if we're jumping at every opportunity. We want to take advantage of this trend. This right here, we just look for buys. I'm not trading this range. I'm waiting for this to break back out above this level. Then we have a strong defined trend and we can buy those dips along the way up and, basically buy the dip, sell the rip. So this is what we need to be paying attention to right now. And just remember, all this fiat steals your financial energy. If you're not saving in Bitcoin or some other investment, the buying power of the dollars you're storing is evaporating over time, while at the same time, Bitcoin is giving it back because it's becoming stronger against the dollar year over year. And this is what we want. And we're seeing institutions pile in, and soon I'm sure we're going to see more governments piling in as well. Now, looking at this, the Bitcoin and crypto markets may be dipping, but the setup for the next bullish leg up continues to strengthen. I truly believe this. This is what analysts have meant when they say, in a bull trend, look for buying opportunities. Are you scared right now? That's emotional. Acknowledge it. You're never going to get rid of those emotions. But if you don't acknowledge it, then you can't enact a strategy and a plan to win for you. What does effective strategy call for? Data, not emotion. So what are we looking at here? We see Bitcoin and we see the USDT.D. So remember, we looked at the dollar index a second ago. Now we're using another metric. We're using another asset or measurement or tool outside of just looking at Bitcoin price. No, let's look at the data, right? So the data here shows Bitcoin, this is last summer, but we're seeing this move up. Look at this, break past regionally, kind of this previous all-time high. We're kind of consolidating in this region as we just broke down. But what we really also like to see is, like, look, if you've been paying attention to the USDT.D, this is the dominance factor of how much market cap, the dominance factor of Tether as a stablecoin. You're likely aware of the inverse correlation between USDT.D. That's how you pull up that chart. You just click on your chart and type USDT.D and Bitcoin. If you look at the chart below, USDT.D has broken down of a strong trend line support and is currently testing a horizontal resistance line, while Bitcoin is consolidating near its all-time high. If this is a bearish retest on the USDT.D, it will get rejected here and continue downward. This is what we want to see for Bitcoin. Consequently, we can expect a massive leg up in Bitcoin, sending it to new all-time high and into price discovery mode. Now, why is this? Because if this is rising, as you see right here, this rise is also correlated with this Bitcoin profit taking into stablecoin. You see how that works? Now, if as this is moving up, if you have coins, you have your stable coins, all the stable coins that are out there, and then people start deploying those stable coins into buying back Bitcoin or other crypto as well. But in this case, we're looking at it as it relates to Bitcoin. So what we're seeing right now is a bear flag setup as Bitcoin is in a bull flag setup. This is a strong fundamental, not even hopium. This is just a data point that says, guys, are you ready? Are you ready to go higher? Now, looking at this on this macro time frame doesn't mean it's going higher today. You have to know that. You have to plan for that. You have to account for that. But this is a beautiful setup. Look at this. Leg down, bear flag, almost the same target. Leg down, bear flag. If this does break below that level, then we may see something very beautiful. So let's go ahead, come over here. Let's go USDT.D, and we can see this USDT.D, and you see this is that line. We have it drawn. I have it drawn out on my chart. If we do break down, currently this is looking like a head and shoulders, giving me further confidence of upward price action in the near future. Now, I'm on the 3-day chart here, so this could take another 2 weeks, another 4 weeks, probably less than that. But if we do rotate back down and lose this level, then what we're looking at is a measurement here, and this would signal another pretty large move to the downside for USDT. And the further this moves down, the more stablecoins are being deployed into buying crypto assets. Bullish setup here. So we got a couple more things, and we're going to jump in and do some TA here. Now, okay, here we go. We are 2 months after the Bitcoin halving. You know, in 2 days will be 2 days after. 2 days will be the Bitcoin halving 2 month. What do you call it? Month anniversary. But we're seeing previous cycles, the sell off through the halving, and then the launch. Okay, the sell off into the halving, and then basically that sideways action we talk about. Then the launch. Okay. We're not dumping, we're consolidating at the halving. Everything is looking beautiful. And then we can see, look at this, the daily ascending triangle is still intact and in play. Red Monday, green week. Well, what we're seeing here is this large, and I personally would not have drawn this pattern. This is why it's good to follow different people. But we can see essentially a flat-ish level of resistance. And this, basically the move up, the move to the bottom, the move to the upside, move back to the bottom, higher lows through here. Now, if we do lose this, we're going to have to pay attention to some levels that we're going to cover here in just a moment. But if this does find support regionally at this $65,000 to $63,000 level, then then we're watching for the next test again back up here at $70,500, $71,000, and then that continuation up. So things are feeling good. The foundation is getting there. Whales with 10,000 or more Bitcoin are moving towards accumulation again. What is this? These are the different wallet size addresses. You see this? Less than 1 Bitcoin held, 1 to 10 Bitcoin held, 10 to 100, 100 to 1,000, 1,000 to 10,000, and over 10,000. So what we're seeing here, this right here was a mark. All this blue means all these different wallet sizes are accumulating. Now look at all this distribution. That's what this means. Selling pressure, not really buying broadly across these other wallet sizes, but the over 10,000 Bitcoin. Look at this distribution. And then getting a lighter and lighter color, getting back towards accumulation. This is the thing that I'm looking at. Shout out to Alex Green in the house. I wish I could explain how important time horizon is to people. So many use the 2-hour chart for a weekly or position trade. You are right there, sir. Shout out to Alex Green. He's been doing some member streams. He's one of the people here on the BitLab team. He's been doing member streams in the BitLab Discord. And by the way, all you folks out there, we've been sharing again. I wanted to shout out again. If you are a BitLab YouTube member or a BitLab Academy member, make sure, and even if you're not, if you're just a channel subscriber, make sure you're hitting that subscription button, but turn on the notifications and check out this community tab because I share some deep alpha here. When you see those charts that are, I don't know if they're going to show on here because I have them unlisted. When you see those charts that have thumbnails like this is the super alpha. I'm not doing clickbait at all. It's kind of like what we're talking about. No clickbait. If you see this, don't be like that. No, it's not going to be boring. It's going to be deep alpha. So tune into those. Now we got a couple more things. I think we're almost there. Okay, right here, Bitcoin Strategy Platform shows the short-term holder cost basis, which we have seen historically been incredible metric to pay attention to on the way up. Is still up here at this $63,000 level. Now, if we come down over here, let's go to dashboard, and then we can go to key levels. We want to look at the 200-day moving average. 200-day moving average is at $56,000 now. So even with the price moving down below the short-term holder cost basis, which we have seen deviations below, like right here. We still have this support cloud between 56 and 64,000. Okay. There's a lot of bullishness and buying opportunities in this zone still. So is it healthy? Is it a buy right now? Is it a sell? What does the data say? Well, let's go ahead and move over to the liquidation data and show there's just a lot of just chop on this chart with people going long, people going short. But where do you see most of the heat? Heat meaning where's the brightest colors? Above us. We do have this area right below us, so which is very close to the current price action. It's so close to the current price action that it's so close. Sorry, I was looking at some data on the chart info. It's so close to the current price action that it wouldn't be out of context for us to basically build a spring or a bear trap with price action flushing down into this high 64,000 Bitcoin, dollar Bitcoin area, which would result probably in a little bit more of a washout in the altcoins as well. Now I saw somebody in here, I think it was actually in the BitLab Discord, said, man, somebody was saying they wish they followed my move on selling TIA. And, it's just frustrating because we're still seeing our markets bleed. And we want our altcoin portfolios to go up. But if you're buying positions, for this bull trend, and that was your strategy, then stick to that strategy. If there's another reason, like the reason I got out of TIA was from not just where the market was, it had more to do with what was going on with some of the things I saw with them. Some of the things I didn't like that I saw that their team was doing with taking basically vested tokens from investors. And although they weren't selling, dropping those, but they're allowing them to essentially stake those and then sell, basically messing with things within the liquidity pool. So I got out of TIA. But for the most part, I've shared this with you all. I'll come back here. My alt portfolio is down right now. Now I can trade like a mofo, but I built this altcoin portfolio showing you all starting February 7th, where we were in the market. If we come back over here and we look at alts, we go to total 3 and we look at this. Where did I buy February 7th, which was about right in here. When we came in, let's go to the daily, right in here. So February 7th would have been right here. So what do we see here? What was I looking at when I decided to start building an alt portfolio? We see the consolidation, the move up, bull flag on the total 3. Give me a deeper indication what's going on in the altcoin market. And we can see that we come in here, look at this. It presses right up into this zone. Presses right up into this zone, comes down, and then look at this. It's pushing right up. And look at that, February 6th. Where am I getting the date? You look at the bottom of the chart. February 6th, February 7th, we break out. And so broadly, I didn't look at the TA of every individual altcoin. I knew which ones I wanted to stack into. And I showed you the simplicity of looking at a macro chart, giving the confidence about what was happening in that market trend. And we started stacking here. Now look at this. We had this big move up. Well, you know, that alt portfolio went up to like $100 and something thousand. And we can see, where is it at? We can see we had this, you know, big kind of sell off, and now we're having a little bit of fear right now, but I'm not scared because I started building positions for the bull trend, and I've been DCAing along the way. If it drops, I mine some more fiat, and I figure out how to deploy it and which ones I'm going to deploy and so on and so forth. So this is what we're doing. By the way, I just want to shout out, if you do want to get involved in the BitLab Academy, we do have in that the pinned tweet in the top of the live chat says BitLab 15 days free. That deal will be expiring soon. That's kind of like a Bitcoin halving special. You can go to that link right there that you see on the bottom of the screen, lab.bitlabacademy.com/deal. Again, that's lab.bitlabacademy.com/deal. And that's how you get involved in the Discord here, where we're sharing gym calls and chart requests where you can get different things charted. We got John Dalton and Corduroy in here sharing charts all the time. I share charts in here as well, and breakdowns here in the Kelly Alpha channel, talking about what coins I'm buying, you know, what I'm doing within the portfolio. There's so much different alpha that I share in here. Of course, we also have JJ chat and JJ calls, where he's in there periodically sharing some new watch lists and breakdowns, and we've got such a great community here. So get involved. Use that link you see on the bottom of the screen. It's also in that pinned comment and the top of the live chat. But you know, let's get back over to what we're talking about. We got to look at some TA talking about what's going on, because we see all this liquidity above us and we think it's just going to go up there, but we may have one more little trap down into this zone. But what does it look like in the near future? The liquidation levels show this is that sort of that pocket we were just talking about potentially dipping into, but we're at a -12, -13 billion dollar delta. When this is super down and we see the fear is super down, that's when you're looking for opportunities for a flip in the market and potential move back to the upside. And then we ask the health of what's going on. We're looking at the daily here. We've been talking about this for some time. The open interest is how much leveraged positions are being taken out. Is it rising? Is it falling? And then in addition to that, is it mostly shorts or mostly longs? If this is down, this means it's mostly shorts. If this is up, it means it's mostly longs. I discussed this back here, June 4th, June 1st into June 6th. Remember that post I shared? June 5th and June 7th. I've been retweeting them with the charts here. On this move right here, open interest was rising, and more these longs. There was more longs and more open interest. So that was one of those signals. I was saying watch for that move to the downside. So what do we see now? Now we see the price action flipping, coming down. And now the open interest is kind of stagnated, but still more people are going short. This is setting up that opportunity, much like this set up the opportunity for the move down. This is setting up that opportunity for the move up. So before we dive in to the TA here, I do want to just update everybody. Fetch, Ocean, AGIX, they had their date moved for when they're, I actually forget what the date is right now, but it was moved for a couple weeks. But this is what you need to pay attention to. When that happens, if you had Fetch, I believe the snapshot was taken on like May 25th, March 25th. I can't remember the date that there was a snapshot, but basically everybody that's holding Fetch, you get 1-to-1 of ASI token. If you hold AGIX, you get 0.43 to 1. So if you have 100 AGIX tokens, then you're getting 43 ASI tokens. And if you're holding Ocean, it's 0.433 as well. So what we're seeing there, why is that? Does that mean it's less or more? You're getting gypped? No, has to do with the correlation of the different size market caps between these different assets. So it's going to benefit all holders in the long run as well as this comes together, and some of the things are going to be moving into the future. So just be aware of this. And then, of course, by the way, if you are trading, if you are whatever you're doing out there, you should be protecting yourself, protecting your crypto, protecting your assets. Channel sponsor, channel partner, Arculus. Shout out to them. Head over to getarculus.com. Use code LAB10 for, I'm going to turn down the volume on that just a little bit. LAB10 for 10% off your Arculus, the best cold storage, crypto cold storage wallet out there. Buy, swap, trade, one tap, multi-factor authentication. It's worth making sure you have some sort of cold storage solution. And I recommend, not only because it's our channel partner, but because I think it's not only the best, but it's the coolest and the easiest to use cold storage wallet out there. So make sure you check out getarculus.com. Now, I think it's time to do some TA. I think it's time to dive in and look at some of these levels. I want to see everybody. You know what? Mark Dutch right now says never go all in on one asset. I agree with that. Absolutely. Missed you in other streams today. Ton. All in on ton? I wouldn't do that. But everybody right now, what is one coin other than Bitcoin? What's one coin that you feel like you haven't got enough of yet? What's the last coin you bought? What's the last coin you sell? I want to see what you guys are looking at. And let's go ahead and look at some TA right now. I'm going to be watching along with, can we look at AVAX, Warrior 4588. I got a pleasure to meet Warrior and Nicole, Tater, as we like to call her, at the studios about 2 weeks ago. So shout out. Can we look at VeChain, Weekly, ONDO, Aptos? All right, Arrow. I'm going to try and do quite a few of these. I do have Duke. I bought late as hell because I didn't even know that got launched. But I do have another meme coin I bought. I'm not going to tell you guys what it was because I don't want to influence that market. But you might. It's pretty ridiculous. Let's go ahead and look at this. All right. Bitcoin, we talked about these levels. Okay. As it sits right now, this is kind of chopping around. Let's get down on the 1 hour chart. Down on the 1 hour chart, near protocol, when is a good entry? Under $5, we will look at that. We're not looking at the charts, are we? Here we go. Boom. So 1 hour chart, currently we're basically double bottoming if this can hold this zone. We see the VWAP rounding, which is good. But there are, like I said, we just looked at those levels. There is an indication that we could sweep just a little bit lower. There is indication that we could sweep just a little bit lower. But what does this look like if we actually look at the 12 hours? Let's get a little bit more clarity. Zoom in, boom, right there. So, yeah, so the hottest zone is above us here at that 66.7. If we clear that, the next level up is going to be up here at 68,000. So let's look at this on the chart. What do we got? Currently, it's just an W formation until we lose this low. If we lose that low, then we do have an indication. We could come down here, look at this zone right here. I can see it. We can delete this because that's just the box. Oops, sorry. This is just a box showing that previous all-time high. So much like I drew this, see this low, top, rejection, chop within, rejection at the top side, rejection at the bottom side, bounce at the bottom side, bounce at the top side, bounce at the top side. See, so I marked out a zone based on the price action. So now what we're going to do is similarly, we see this here, so rejection, rejection, bounce, bounce, chop within. Okay, so this is the zone. Come on. This is the zone we're drawing right here. Because we have rejections, we have bounces, bounce, 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 sort of chop through, bounce on the top side. Okay, bounce on the bottom side. So this is that next level. If we do sweep to the downside, and this is going to correlate a little bit on the top side of this, it makes the most sense. But remember that liquidity we're just looking at is kind of in the zone. So this is why I think if we come down in here, we may even front run this and bounce above, bear trap, continue to the upside. Now, if we're looking at this a little bit more zoomed in, double click there. Let's go ahead and pull up our indicators. Let's look at the BitLab intelligence. Let's look at the volume. So as you notice, even though I trade and use this the BitLab trading stack all the time, I look at the price action first so I can understand what the price action is telling me. Then I pull up the indicators and get deeper signals. So what we can see here is weekly VWAP, my favorite magic line here, this yellow line, is now kind of perfectly confluent right here with where the trading, the trend signal line is right here. And look at this. Price action is rejecting here at the dynamic resistance zone. Boom, boom, boom. But we got a bullish signal here. Stopping volume, yellow candle, bullish signal, and having some resistance right here. If the price action can hold here and take out 65,768, which is a weekly VWAP, I'm watching for a little rejection in this zone, a move back down to find support, and then continue to the upside. That's what I'm thinking if we get that bullish action. Now, if this does basically like sort of bear pennant, bear flag out, then we're watching for a breakdown below $65,000, which then ultimately would go into, remember those liquidity zones we were talking about? Look at this. The BitLab trading stack volume perfectly outlines with this green bar, this order block down here, which is what I just talked about. Remember the front running of this zone that we're looking with price action? The liquidity interest is here in the $63,000 to $64,000 range. So if we do lose this, I'm watching for a potential bounce in this zone and then the move to the upside. We see the weekly VWAP coming around like this. Not the weekly VWAP, sorry, on the 1 hour time frame. The weekly VWAP's coming up. What does it look like on the 4 hour? Volume coming down so low. Also trying to turn two bullish divergences here. It's trying to do the work. We're going to have to see how this goes. Now, Ethereum, look at this downtrend. Boom, boom, boom. Now we have broken out of that, but now it's just sideways consolidation. Down, up, down, up, down. It's kind of looking like it's trying to form an inverted head and shoulders. Shoulder, head. If this can find support here and round out, then Ethereum is building an inverted head and shoulders, which would make sense because we just got word that there's a likelihood, remember, dumpiest before pumpiest, but we just got word that there's, I think they're looking at January 2nd. Is that what they said? Let's look. I don't know where I saw it, but yeah, I think you guys have all seen it too. January 2nd is likely when the Ethereum ETFs will go live. The S1s will get approved somewhere in here. So ASI start trading July 5th. So there we got the ASI date, July 5th. Great. Now we have the, I don't know where it is, somewhere in there. It's going to be June, I think it's July 1st for Ethereum potentially. And so now there's going to be likely a move up into that and then watch for a sell-off after that if that happens, if the market is still not looking super strong. You think I'm going to do some daily charts for members? You think I'm going to do some daily charts for members in the BitLab Academy? Yeah, do some daily charts, yeah. But Ethereum, if this can hold here, not only are we flipping this resistance to support, this will likely push up. And then we have this neckline, which is essentially at this previous range lows. See this? It actually would be a little bit at an angle. Boom. Just like this. So if this could push up and take out 36.23, that would be very bullish. And then the measured move for this would be all the way up here, but you have to watch this rising level of support that is now overhead resistance. So if this does break through here, pay attention to these zones. Now we see ONDO. Remember, we marked this out last week. Giant head and shoulders. We talked about potentially, if this lost, potentially having a little bit of support here, but ultimately the target was this. You take that measured move, the target on ONDO will be down here at 92 cents. Do I think it's going to go all the way down to 92? I think there's a little bit, my bias would be there's a little too much underlying bullishness for it to get all the way down here. So let's watch right here. Where are we bouncing? Boom, option J. Previous range top. So I'm looking for a bounce somewhere above here, but we have to watch for a potential rejection here, and then that will signal likely lower move. But let's watch what happens on ONDO here, because we're seeing so much stacking into those TVL metrics on RWA.XYZ. RWA.XYZ. Let's see, dashboard. Where is the data I'm looking for? Look at this. I mean, look at how much this is growing over time. So the fundamentals are getting stronger while the price is telling you you have an opportunity to still buy before it explodes. So it's great. AVAX. I think it was Dave Middles. I can't remember who asked for AVAX, but look at this. We had this drawn, I mean, for the last couple weeks. Look at this bounce. Kind of deviation below, deviation back above, drop down. Where are we at right now? The line that we had drawn from this zone right here. Look, rejection, also bounce. So now we have this line defined. Okay, we lost this level. So where do we look? The next line defined. Boom, we're sitting right here. If we lose this zone, however, the next level is going to be, we can actually draw, you could draw it up here at 2450 or down here at 23 because of these two zones. I would suggest front running it, because we are in the middle of, at some point in the very near future, this market is going to start ripping and it's going to wreck a lot of people that aren't prepared. So I'm not looking at the lowest target I can get. Let's be a little conservative here, because this is also right here where this order block starts. So if we do lose this level, I'm looking for a $25 to $24 opportunity on Avalanche. If this can bounce here, then we're watching for what happens when this reaches back to this previous support, now overhead resistance, which is up here at 31.52. Once we break out of this, then I do think, it's sort of back to off to the races sort of mentality. Render, downtrend on the midterm. Look at that. Rejection, rejection. But look, large bearish momentum, move up. Smaller bearish momentum, move up. Are we going to get smaller bearish momentum again, signaling the strength of the bears is diminishing? This is what we're paying attention to. Look at where this is bouncing, right on the BitLab trading stack, order block right here. If we can hold here and push back up into this, this is starting to show a rounding bottom if this is the case. And if we could take this out and take out this zone right here, 845, then the next level is going to be up here in the mid nines. I remember you said 23 on AVAX. Yeah, I did say that. I remember months ago, or it's weeks and weeks ago, I talked about the possibility of Avalanche coming back down to this chop zone right in here. And this is right in this 21 to 23 is essentially the block of interactive price. So that level and this level come across. What area does that outline? 22 to 24. What number is that? 23. Now, if you can get all the way down in there, have a buy available. Sure, have a limit order in there if we sweep down into the zone. But there's a strong possibility this comes down above this, front runs at the 25, upper 24s, and then moves back to the upside. Mark Dutch says he just had a conversation with the like button, and we agreed it no longer requires KYC, so feel free to hit that like button. Shout out to, did I miss any super chats or anything? I always want to make sure somebody super chats a coin that I hit it. No super chats. Okay, so I'm ABT. Some of you guys love ABT. I don't have anything against it. It's just there's only so much capital that you could put into the market. You know what I mean? Coinbase, let's look at ARC block. Look at that. boom, back up, back to equilibrium, almost like a heartbeat, flush out, back up. Now, where did that bounce? Look, right there, option J. We had a bounce here, rejection, 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 bounce here. And look, bounce here. We're coming back up. If this can hold, if arc block can hold and hold above, especially this 280, it's a golden pocket here, then this may have been flipping the narrative here and may start working its way back up. However, if we lose this, then we're watching for a potential double bottom back here at 239. Cardano having a spill. Remember those levels? Some of you guys thought there's no freaking way price is going to those levels. Let's look at this. Well, we see Cardano coming down. Actually, it would be on this chart that we had those levels mapped out. Let's go. Where is Cardano? How many of you guys are still on the Cardano train? No hate for anybody. Everybody's going to trade what they like and what they... how come Cardano is not on this list? It would be... Yeah, whatever. We had this level marked out essentially right here. Option, the 39-cent level, and then the 34-cent level, which was right here. Why? Because we see these lows, rejection lows, and then this sort of channel that was created. Look at where price is right now, 40 cents. It dipped below that. It dipped down into 38.96, so 39 cents. The next level down, if we lose this, I would expect some sort of bounce here, maybe getting rejected at 42 if we're going to continue bearish. And then the next level down is down here at this 35, 37 cent sort of zone, which would make a great opportunity if you're a long-term Cardano bull. Falco says, definitely holding some Cardi B. Sparrowhawk says, thoughts on Avalanche all-time highs. I think Avalanche is going to have some explosive moves in the RWA sector and probably some pretty strong partnerships. But look at this. This is a giant head and shoulders right now. There is some bearishness here you have to protect yourself against. I don't think this is going to play out and price is going to go to minus $8, right? You have to look at context and where we're at in a market cycle as well. So this is essentially a scare tactic on what's going on with Cardano at the moment. I'd be looking for those opportunities. If we do go lower, now is already a good opportunity. If we do go lower into the 24, 25 zone, great. But when we're looking at this on the sort of bullish kick here, we can say, let's actually go to an older chart, AVAX. Let's go to Binance, and we go right here, metric top to bottom. Now what we're looking at, we could do this as well just to get a metric. So look at this. This went up from here. This went up to the 2.618. So I think this would actually be a little bit conservative, but the 2.618 is $369. It's at $28 right now. The 1.618 is $231. I think there's going to be some bullishness on Avalanche. That's why it's one of my biggest positions. Now let's look at NEAR. NEAR, look at this. Beautiful. Beautiful. Scary, but beautiful. Look at this. Bounce, bounce, bounce. Bounce a little bit above it. M formation comes back to this level. If we do lose this zone if we lose this zone all the way down 470, then I think that it's going to be really good buying opportunity if you get down here into this $4 mark, which is this chop zone here, and the next zone is down here at 337. However, I think right now in the crypto market is more of a bear trap than anything. We could have a big quick washout, V-shaped recovery, and then launch, but I see this as opportunity. Why? Because you see bounce, 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 bounce. If we dip anywhere in here, that's a clear buy for me. And then just patience. Now, if this does start moving up, the next level we're going to have to watch is 631, potential rejection, bounce again, and then continuation. But this is why NEAR is one of my biggest positions as well. I think NEAR, I talked to their business development team. They're doing some huge, huge things here in the near future. And also, remember, they're part of that AI narrative. So let's look at stacks. I did buy some stacks over the weekend. I got about, I can't remember. I got about $1,000 extra worth of stacks, but we have this downtrend. It did break out bullish, found support. Now it's coming back down again. So maybe we need to adjust this line now. So stacks, let's go ahead and boom. And I found some cool projects that I've been looking into on the DOT ecosystem. We're going to be talking about in a video this week. And look at that falling wedge. This is bullish to me. So, you know, when the BRC20 narrative pops, it's going to be big. And look at where we're sitting. Look at my cursor sitting right here on these highs, right here on these highs. So looking good. Now let's look at DOT real quick. We got to pay attention to DOT because I've been doing some content on this. I moved a huge portion, a decent size amount out of Cardano in my alt portfolio I'm sharing with you guys. Basically moved in to some big old black cat just walked by. Right when I said I moved out of Cardano into DOT. Is that ominous? I like DOT. I like what they're doing. Big head and shoulders here, though, on DOT. Maybe sparking for an opportunity if the price does drop down into these zones. But they got a lot of great things in their ecosystem projects. I'm going to be identifying in a video. I think I'm going to be recording this afternoon. But so if we do see price action move to the downside here, I think this is a clear buy anywhere below the $6 mark, especially here at 530. And in this zone, I think will be bear trap territory before a move to the upside. So let's pay attention to what's going on in this market right now, because I think those coins that, DOT's one of those ones that has some of the most GitHub commits, meaning that the development that they're doing and how much attention they're putting into getting the word out about what they're doing is also going to be incredibly bullish for what we're seeing in the near future as those things really get released and push out. Because we see here on the smaller time frame, we got a bit of a falling wedge. Bit of a falling wedge here. Boom, 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 boom. Getting near an apex. Is that next move a washout to the downside and then nice move to the upside? Currently, we got negative money flow, but we're having a higher, see this low on the momentum, higher low, and we're having lower lows on the price action. We have some bullish divergence coming in while we're starting to round out here. I think there's going to be signal for upward price action here in the near future. I love you guys. I hope you're all having a wonderful, wonderful time in this market. The best is yet to come. Every single one of you. I hope you'll hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding the bell, and make sure you head over and you check out that lab.bitlabacademy.com /deal. Get involved with that because you know what? We got some really good things that are going to be a lot of things that are, why is that not disappearing? I don't know. But you can see what it says. There you go. Get involved. Become a member of BitLab YouTube at minimum. You get access to those member streams. And just tune in here. You don't have to sign up for anything. I want to build a community with you guys. I want to make sure you all dominate this market. You know what? I will see you guys in the Discord. I'll see you guys in the streams. I'll see you guys profiting in this market because that's what this is all about. Again, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. We're going to head over to the DGen Alpha channel right now. So everybody that's dropping there, everybody go with us. You can just watch this. As this ends, you'll be automatically sent over to DGen Alpha. Let's all go drop some lab coats. Let's go show some love to Taco. Let's just say BitLab Unite with DGen Alpha. We're going to end this now. We'll see you there. Adios, muchachos. Adios, muchachos. Thank you for being here. Thank each and every one of you for tuning in. Hit that like button, sucker.